Silent Night. Holy guacamole, Batman. We are checking out the DC Comics series Silent Night. This is the 2023 version, the one that came out last year. And by golly, we have a lot to talk about here on Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show, Two Geeks and a Microphone. I am your co-host, Mr. Stephen Boster, along with the one, the only, the most illustrious, the most who sort of looks like Santa, but his beard's a little different, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Ho, ho, ho. Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land.
We are so glad you were here with us today on December 14th, when we go live on our YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Rumble streams. And we're so glad that you're here with us. Mike does post the podcast, the audio only, also on YouTube later, but it does hit our Podbean on... Normally you do that. It's super
Monday.
Early in the morning when it pops, but...
Yeah, Monday at midnight is when it...
that's what it is.
Out. That's when I have it sent out. Now, however, it got pointed out to me by Jeff from Nerdery Murdery this past week that our first 152 episodes are missing from all the audio platforms.
Yeah, it's like the first half of all of our...
Right. And I have no clue of what happened to them because he was suggesting that somebody go back and listen to one of our crossovers, and that happened before episode 152. So what I will do is I will start systematically re-uploading our first 152 episodes probably today.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a couple a week. I won't just dump everything.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a bit.
I'd be curious if people want to hear our most popular ones first, or, so that way you're not having to, like he was trying to suggest the crossover ones. Maybe we should do all the crossover ones, then maybe
that's
special
not a bad idea.
ones.
I can start with that. So I'll start with the crossovers, and then after that, I'll just kind of start, going through them systematically. Then.
Yeah. I can't remember which is our most popular one. Well
actually,
on YouTube, it's the one we had with Eric July, I think. That was the most popular one, which that's a great episode. Gosh, he was such a great guest.
During our first year, our first episode was pretty popular. That's the one we talked about Mara Jade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fun episode. So
yeah, that's a real good episode.
Yep.
So we're excited. I'm excited about it. I'm probably revisiting some of those. It's kind of nostalgia and all that. But for those who you've joined us in the last year and just thought, oh, what other episodes do they have? I think it'd be nice to have a curated list of where to say, hey, these are the ones that we had that were specific to our crossovers. These are our most popular. And I think Constantine was another one. And we had a Spider-Man one that was pretty popular.
Yeah, the one that we named what was it?
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Yeah, we did kind of to the song, so I don't know if that just did something to the algorithm or something, but it was kind of funny.
And we got a huge amount of downloads on that one, so that was another popular one.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have crossed the 250 threshold, by the way. I forgot to mention that a couple weeks ago.
Woo!
Yeah. So we're up over 250 episodes now. That's quite a bit. And last December, I think it was last December or January, we did our 200th episode. And that one we had Nerdery and Murdery on, and we had Brian from Three Geeky Dads on, and we just had a bunch of guests on. That was a lot of fun. We had a good time on that one.
Yeah.
That one's still up. You can get that one.
All right. Well, everybody, we are talking today about Batman Santa Claus Silent Night with a K.
When you said that, I just had, uh, um, uh, yeah, I just had the Riddler's voice go through my head from Batman, with Batman and no, Batman, the one with Val Kilmer.
Oh, okay, Batman Forever.
Batman, Batman. I had Jim Carrey's voice running through my head.
Right on. Oh gosh.
I don't like that movie that much, but that is, I don't know, something about that when he says that. Batman, Batman.
Yeah, Batman Forever was 1995.
Wow. Gosh.
Ugh.
Okay, that's enough talking about that one.
Right. All right. So anyway, this is a great story, everybody. There's some aspects of it I liked, and some other aspects that were okay, but we have saved it for the podcast. So Mike and I have not talked about it, and so I'm interested in kind of what happens with that. We'll get the show rolling. What? Let's see. Which do we want to do first?
I actually have some geeky news, so let's jump
do it.
Into geeky news.
Okay.
Oh my god, why does it keep doing it? Stop it, that's annoying. I'm still learning this, sorry.
It is okay.
All right, so here, this is what we got for the Geek Star. Now let's see if I can do this right.
There you go.
No.
That works.
Just off the screen. Anyway, all right. We're not on the screen, but so I heard this. Oh,
there you go.
There, Steven did it right. Thank you, Steven.
Yeah.
So I heard this week it has been officially announced, and this is the Hollywood Reporter is reporting this one, but I've also seen it on some other sites. We recently had the news that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be returning to the Marvel Universe, only this time he was going to be playing Doctor Doom. Don't know how I feel about that. We'll see. But now they are announcing Chris Evans is returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday. And rumor has it, and I think this is probably going to come true, that he will be returning as either a evil or a dark version of Captain America. And it sounds like they are building up the quote unquote Dark Avengers. And I think with that in mind, I think that's a good possibility. I think that's what we're heading into.
I think that is a mistake if that's the case.
Okay. Let's talk about that a minute. I'm kind of with you. I think it is a mistake. I think bringing Robert Downey Jr. as Doomsday might be a mistake too, because I think you're going to have hardcore MCU fans not liking this. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm kind of with you. I think this might be a mistake. And I personally think they're just doing it because the Marvel MCU has not been hitting the same marks that it has in the past. And I think they realize without Captain America, without Iron Man, people are not liking these versions. And you're heading into a whole new version of the Avengers without those characters. And I think this is their way of saying, well, see, we got the actors back, but they're not playing those characters. And I don't know if people are going to be happy with this, but we can only wait and find out. It could turn out to be really good too. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the question is will I go see it? Yeah. Just so you know, we will, because I'm sure we'll do a show on it.
Yeah, I'm sure we will too.
But I'm, the thing is Captain America was here we go again, good guy versus bad guy. I keep him as a good guy. I can handle Robert Downey Jr. coming back if he is Victor Von Doom. That fine.
As long as it's the, an alternate universe, if it's one of the other versions of him, I don't have that much of an issue.
Yeah.
But if he's going to do it, I want him to go all out. I want him to play Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I don't want Tony Stark ends up being Doctor
Right.
Doom. I don't
Right.
want that at
I
all.
want this to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I can go. Fine. You can get whoever you think is best for the role. That's fine. Even if they do it where they never show his face and he's always in the mask, which I doubt. But
that's not going to happen. We already
right.
know that.
Fine.
Personally, I would love to see a Doctor Doom that we only saw in the mask. But
yeah,
in today's day and age, you get these actors who are huge names, and you can't show them without the mask. You have to show them without the mask.
Yeah.
We had the same issue with what's his face that played Two-Face in The Dark Knight. His agent was upset because he said there was too much. Get this, there was too much time spent of him in the makeup. It's like he's barely in the movie in the makeup as Two-Face.
Yeah.
How do you think that's too much? It's at the very end of the film.
That was Aaron Eckhart was the actor.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I want my good guys to be good. Do not give me a dark Captain America. I would probably like, no, I'm not.
So
in
you
for
don't
that.
want to see the Hail Hydra Cap?
Holy cow! No, I do not.
I was furious when that. I have to admit I didn't read the storyline of it, but I remember that came out. That comic series, that storyline came out around the time of Iron Man 2, I think it was, and I was just furious when I saw the headline.
It didn't make any sense for the character at all whatsoever, based upon everything. Yeah, it was just destroy the continuity and all that kind of stuff.
And I kind of think that's where they're going to go with this. I think we're going to get the Hail Hydra Cap, is what I think they're going to do.
Great, just great.
I don't know, dude. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will see. Okay.
All right. Next
else you got?
headline. All right. So it also James Gunn has confirmed that Batman: The Dynamic Duel will be released in 2028, and from what I'm reading, we're going to kind of see both Dick Grayson and Jason Todd.
Okay. And did you say this was going to be animated?
Yes. Dick Grayson and Jason Todd in this.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I was surprised at, because I thought the Batman Dynamic Duel was going to be a live action film and we were going to get a live action version of Robin. But this is saying it's going to be another animated, which I don't have an issue with the animated. I like a lot of DC's animated stuff. In fact, usually I tend to like their animated better than their live action.
Have you started watching Creature Commandos?
Yeah, I watched the first episode.
Okay. I have not watched it yet, but it did pop up on my feed. So I was like, oh, okay.
Watch the first episode and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that may be geeky news next week, everybody.
We'll see. I can't say too much because I don't know if we're going to do an episode and I don't want to give away too much. But yeah, not real thrilled about it. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So that's the DC news. And then one last thing, I have Rippaverse news. I did post this on our timeline, so this is kind of repeating a little bit of news that I posted on our Facebook timeline. But we promote Rippaverse as often as we can. We're big fans of the Rippaverse. We're big supporters of the Rippaverse.
Yep.
And Rippaverse is now releasing their first collected series, so you can get the first 3 books, which would be Isom 1, Alpha Core, and Yaira, in a hardback edition. It is a steep $85, but you get a nice, really nice book, a nice version, updated colors, a couple updated scenes here and there, so it's not a 100% reprint of the 3 original books. There are some new stuff.
Yeah.
But if you are wanting to jump into the Rippaverse, this is a great way to do it. Like I said, $85. It's a little steep, but if you add up the price of the 3, you're going to be paying close to that anyway. So,
yeah, Yeah, the three. If you get, excuse me, if you get at the $29,
Right.
I mean that's 30 minus 3. That's 87. So $87. So you get it $2 cheaper if you bought them separately.
And you get it in a really nice hardback edition, and those tend to be really, really nice. Make a great coffee table book too. Just
I
saying.
didn't think about that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
All right. That's all I got for the geeky news.
Right on.
All right. Oh, there we go. Had to take us back to normal.
Oh, hang on just a second before we move further. Hey, Sage. Good morning, buddy.
Oh, good morning, Sage.
What would Batman do if he wasn't rich? He would be Robin.
Boy, that's a dad joke.
That's pretty
Well,
good.
actually, there's an answer to that.
All right. So Sage also
Holy
says,
cow, Sage, you sent us a book.
I love it. Well, to be fair, good is only based on the upbringing of the character. Thanos, for us, was bad, but from his perspective, he knew the celestial existence and how they are formed. So him removing half the population was for the greater good. To say good be good guy and not a bad guy version of our good guy isn't so cut and dry. Had we seen Hydra's story before S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe we could think Cap would be bad in comparison. I get the perspective. It's all about the perspective of, their upbringing. I get that, because that's kind of like what Disney tried to do with the when they did the oh my gosh, the one
you're
with
gonna make Megan mad.
Angelina Jolie. I can't even think of the show now. The
Maleficent.
Thank you, Megan. Or even Cruella. It was kind of like, what's their background? But they still chose bad things to do bad things. And eventually Cruella was wanting to kill Dalmatians for a coat. So sorry, not sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Sage, I'm glad you're here. Good to have you, buddy.
I understand what you're saying. I get it completely.
Yep. Brogu's in the house.
Brogu, good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome. All right, should we do the Geek Dar?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Control with the radar, sir.
What's wrong with it?
I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps.
The what? The what? And the what?
You know, the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
Now, see, I clicked the Geek Dar. It plays, and it stops. I click the Geeky News, and it wants to play 600 times. I don't know why.
That's all right. Well, here is what I want to talk about this week, released on Amazon Prime.
I just saw this yesterday, and I was like, oh, this might be interesting.
So there's 8 episodes out right now, but there's going to be 15 in total. So, and in those, because I wanted to look it up. The first one's Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let me make this bigger. So much more bigger.
Much more bigger. Cheers.
All right, there you go.
I'll count that.
So the first, cheers. I'll get my drink. The first one is Dungeons and Dragons, and I've watched these first 8. Sifu is the other one. Sifu's good. Oops. Sifu is these are all video games that you're doing stories with. New World, Once and Future King. Watch that one. That wasn't too bad. Unreal Tournament. That was fun. There's Warhammer, Pac-Man, Crossfire, and Armored Core out right now. Now, the New World Once and
Future documentaries? Or?
No, they're like stories, computer animated stories from those video games. And if you're into video games, you'll get some really cool Easter eggs in there. The Dungeons and Dragons one's good. Sifu is good if you've played the game. I have not. I've kind of waited it till it went to PlayStation Plus because I'm a cheapskate. I'm just kidding. New World, Arnold Schwarzenegger does a voice in here, and it is hysterical. It's really good. He plays it very well and stuff, and I enjoyed it. The Unreal Tournament was really good. That you could tell the whole story was going on that. Warhammer, if you are a Warhammer fan, and I have a neighbor who's a good friend of mine, and I called him yesterday. I said, dude, he's huge. He knows all the lore. And so I said, have you watched the Warhammer 40,000 thing on Amazon? He goes, I thought they canceled that. I said, oh, no. This is secret level. This is the whole montage of all these different, montage is not the right word, collection of all these different things. But it's a series on Amazon Prime, and there's different episodes on different games. And so there's Warhammer. It is incredible for Warhammer fans. It is gritty, it is gory, it is true to the lore. And my friend had said that this, and there's a Stardust clip that a fan made on YouTube that he loved. He goes, "This is just as good as that, if not better, the way they do some stuff on here."
And I think Henry Cavill's his Warhammer thing is going to be coming out soon too.
Well, it's not soon, but they got the green light to move ahead with it.
Oh, okay.
So that is going to happen. I think he's in creative control of it. I think that I have not.
That's I know he's a huge Warhammer fan. That's all I really know.
He's ginormous. Yeah, Pac-Man. I'm going to open with you guys. Some of you may like it. I was expecting, oh, this is going to be about Pac-Man and blah blah blah. No, it's horror. I'm just going to plain up tell you, eat or be eaten. Oh my goodness, yeah, it's not bad, but it's funny. It will circumvent your expectations, and it did for me. I was like, oh, it's this gritty eat or be eaten kind of a thing, and yeah, I don't want to say anything else. Crossfire, good conflict. This was really good. This moral of this one was, who is the good guy? Both sides of the situation, in a game, think they're the good guys, and so who's good and who's bad, kind of a thing. And then Armored Core. This one is right up there with the Warhammer one as far as my favorites so far. And this one, Keanu Reeves plays the pilot of a battle mech.
Oh, really?
And he does the voice, and it's really good. It's really interesting, and it's got a really the ending kind of was like, oh, kind of a thing. So it's really good. If you've got Prime and you love video games, I would say watch it. It's really good. Each one's only like 10 to 15 minutes. Each episode is. So it's real manageable. So evidently we've got coming up Outer Worlds, Mega Man, Exodus, Spelunky, Concord, Honor of Kings, and then Playtime Fulfillment. So, and this is just season 1. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do.
So let me ask you something. Do I have to know the games in order to enjoy this?
No, no, because I don't know some of these games, to be open with you.
Okay. All right, cool.
So when you go to Amazon Prime or Prime Video, just put in secret level, and see, you can, the episodes are here. You can see that, whoops, I've watched them all so far.
Wow. Okay. So, and big question.
Yes.
Any Steven skips?
None. 0.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot.
Zilch.
It tells me I guess I should watch this. I saw it yesterday yesterday I was looking for where I could watch V, because we have our crossover,
mega crossover for us.
I like that mega crossover with Nerdery and Murdery and Three Geeky Dads, and we are going to be covering the 80s television series V. The mini series that kicked it off, the television series which lasted 1 season, and then the mini series that ended it, and then the reboot of it in the early 2000s, which is horrible. just terrible. I hate it. I hated that show.
Now, if anybody wants to watch it with us, it's on Plex for free and Tubi.
So now that's funny you say that, though, because I was having troubles well, first of all, I couldn't find the original miniseries, the first one, for free. I ended up purchasing that on either Apple or Amazon. I forget which one. Makes no difference. But I was like, yeah, I'll purchase it, and I was I was fine with it. I'm not going to say too much because I want to save it for the podcast. And then I was having troubles finding the season 1. Our friend Zig over at Nerdery Murder, he kept saying it's free, it's free. I'm like, well, I can't find the thing, and I don't want to pay $40 for it.
Yeah.
And I did, but I did end up finding it on Plex. I had to install Plex on my Apple TV because I guess I hadn't used Plex.
I've never used Plex, so I created an account. Yeah.
Well, I had one. I had an account. I had gotten it years ago, and then I guess I never really used it, so I didn't really need Plex for anything. And so once I re-updated the app, then everything started to pop in. I was like, "Oh, okay, here it is. Cool." So yeah, you can pick it up for free on Plex, which is nice because I didn't want to pay for it. I didn't want to pay for I didn't mind buying the mini series. I was fine with that, but
Right.
I just didn't want to pay for the whole season of it. So, but yeah. So if you want to watch along with or watch it, review it before we have our big mega crossover. I like mega crossover. I'm gonna start calling it that from now on.
I think we're recording January 11th or 12th or both or something like that. I'm not for sure. So.
I think so. I haven't heard anything from the Three Geeky Dads on their input on
their
the
timetable
date. So we're still working that all out. We will announce details as it gets closer to it, though.
Yeah. We'll probably do all that as extra for us, probably.
Most likely. Maybe. Possibly.
Extra episodes. Yeah.
Extra episodes to disappear off of our server.
Right. We'll get it figured out.
How frustrating.
Yeah. Hey, Brogu, by the way, he said, he goes, I guess he'll know what he's watching later. Hey, comment below what you think. What's your favorite one? So far, Warhammer is my favorite. And right after that, it's the Armored Core one is my favorite. But I do want to hear what you think about Pac-Man, though.
And now I got to check this out.
Yeah.
I was excited when I saw Pac-Man on there, and then you kind of let me down when you're like, well, it's not really Pac-Man. It's horror. But maybe I will like it because I do
may
like some horror.
You may like it. Just don't think of it as Pac-Man, the game.
Yeah, because see, I don't like the idea of taking Winnie the Pooh and making it horror.
It's not like that. It's not like making it horror.
So it's not like we're going to see a giant Pac-Man with fangs and he's running around and eating people.
No.
Okay.
No. But I'm not going to say anymore because I want you to watch it, and I don't want to ruin anything else for you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I did see it when I was searching for V, and I was like, what is this? This looks interesting. So I'm glad you brought it up. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to jump into the main event? Because we are half hour in. So
this is great, you guys. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
It's time for the main event. Everybody, here we go. We are going to talk DC Comics, Batman / Santa Claus, and then the title is Silent Night with a K.
Keep talking.
Yeah. Keep talking. Okay, so here you go, everybody. Let me show you the cover. So what we've done is we have, we're going to have some of this to where we're going to show you some panels, but we want to be real careful because I'm still kind of learning some of this on what the rules are with what you can show and what you can't show. But I do want you guys to see the cover. So you see Superman talking with a little boy, Batman comic. There's Batman, there's Wonder Woman, and then there's all these funky looking bats in the background. And so Silent Night with a K, Christmas story. So it will, what's interesting about this is really some monsters come to Gotham, and lo and behold, it ends up being the, what shall I say? They're trying to figure out where they're coming from because they end up being a vampire bat kind of a thing at the beginning. And then it's like, then all of a sudden somebody shows up to help, and lo and behold, it be Santa Claus. And so.
What name did they use for Santa Claus, by the way?
Santa.
Did they actually use Santa or did they use Chris?
Later on, they said Chris.
Okay, and how did they spell it, with a K or a C?
A K.
K. Okay. I'm just curious if Santa Claus is in the DC Encyclopedia. That's the reason. I meant to look this up earlier and I forgot.
Yeah. So what's really cool is some of the panels are just fantastic. And so somebody shows up to help in the very beginning, and that's Antenna. And so here's the picture of that. And then there's the full panel, which was great.
Yeah, I like that.
It was a great full panel. I love how, you remember how we were talking last week about how it zooms in and out on the DC app. It's really well done in these comics series.
That is the one advantage of having the subscription to both the DC and the Marvel apps, is that you get this function of being able to zoom in and read a single panel, and just seeing the beauty of the artwork all in the size of your screen. I really, really enjoy that.
Yeah. It's nice because if I had the physical copy, I don't have to take off my glasses and put it right in front of my face to see it.
Not to say that I don't like my physical copies, because I got several stacks here. So.
Right. But these are vampiric strain of the Norse undead. So they're vampire zombies from Norse mythology. And
I thought that was wild that we went into the Norse mythology. I thought that was pretty cool.
And then all of a sudden, here comes another one. Batman hits him. I'm not going to do this through all of them, but I want to show you. Oh, no, he gets
Damian.
He gets Damian, and it's Damian Wayne in it, which is great. And then all of a sudden, he gets stabbed. You got to stab right through the heart. And I was like, oh, true for vampire form. And there's where you could see
lo
where.
And behold.
And then it's Santa Claus. And he's riding Prancer. And so here's how the panel comes out, everybody. And so you see, I'm like, it's Santa Claus Vampire Hunter. That's what it was.
I love this Santa Claus. This Santa Claus, one, he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And we find out the DC side of the lore of Santa, which is kind of cool. Well, we find out some of it. They don't give you all of it.
But you do realize that what Batman has spent time with him.
Right. And I love it. I love that. And Nightwing and both Nightwing and Robin are like, what? Santa Claus is real? And it's fantastic. It's really, really good. But the cool thing is, earlier this week, somebody posted on Facebook, apparently they're coming out with Lord of the Rings action figures. And there was a particular action figure they had that it looked just like that Santa Claus. And I have no idea what character it's supposed to be in the Lord of the Rings. But I'm like, I might be tempted to buy that and put it alongside a Batman action figure, just because it looks like the DC Super Santa Claus.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because somebody was commenting, they go, they're never going to sell those action figures. And I'm sitting here looking at it going, they might sell one. They just might. We'll see.
Well, let's see. I'm going to do a Lord of the Rings action figure that looks like Santa.
Let's see what you find here. I saw it somewhere on Facebook. I should have saved it, but I didn't think about it. The one that I saw, he was actually wearing red too. And it had a little bit of armor on it and everything. And I was just like, wow, that looks like the DC Santa Claus from Silent Night.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go to the Lord of the Rings action figures and see. Let me look at pictures, images.
Yeah, go to the images.
Nope. That's
I really am not making this up.
The only...
And granted, I don't know where they they got their image at.
Yeah. I'm not finding it. I'm not seeing it plain as day, which I was shooting for. I was hoping for.
But I thought that was that particular action figure. To me, it looked like the DC. Oh, did you find it? Oh, yeah. Click on that one. Click on that one.
Okay, here. I'm going to add the scene, everybody.
Yeah.
This one here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Helm Hammerhand action figure. Oh, the War of Roram. So it's the new comic book. It's the new animated film.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the new animated. Okay, that's it.
So that's where it's coming from.
And there it is. Don't that look like the DC Santa Claus?
It does.
So I saw that. I was like, oh, shoot, I might have to buy that. I might have to buy that. I might have to buy a Batman that looks as cool and put them together.
And set up our own Silent Night diorama.
Yeah.
Nice.
How cool would that be?
Oh, I didn't have that bigger so everybody could see it. I'm sorry, everybody. Hang on. I thought
you were so excited that you actually found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me make.
I mean, even his.
Oh, here we go.
Like ankle, or knee pad gauntlets, whatever. Yeah, the gauntlets, they all look very similar to the DC one, in my opinion. And I don't know, I don't think that's supposed to be Santa Claus, but you tell me, does that look like Santa Claus to you?
He looks like
yeah.
Odin.
Yeah, he does look kind of like Odin. You're right.
Yeah, look what they did. They did. So here you get the head of collect to build the snow troll. So that tells me that for each character you buy, you get a piece of the troll to build him.
Whoa, and you could make him, well, he's too hefty to be
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces.
He's a little too hefty to be yeah, the bad Santa. Yes, Krampus. Yeah, that's
right. Okay. Right. All right. So cool. So the story continues. I guess we need to get back to
Sorry, we went down a rabbit hole on that one.
We surely did. So here's my favorite panel, everybody. I want to show this to you.
Oh, yeah, that's a great
all of a sudden, here comes Prancer, and with his huge set of antlers, stabs several things. And here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus spearing those vampires clean. And he's talking to Dick Grayson, and it's like, there's no way, it's Santa. What in the world? But I love this scene where he just comes in and attacks, and it was really good. So from the main story, then I guess book 1 is really introducing that here is Santa Claus, and he's a fighter. He's a fighter, not a lover. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I gotta say, I love this version of Santa Claus. I think he was fantastic.
It was good. You know what it reminded me of is last year when we did the whole movie review of Violent Night.
Yes, actually, it was 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I've not watched it yet this year. It is my yearly.
Haven't either. It's not free on streaming, so I'm gonna have to buy it. And I bought it. Oh, did you? That one's worth a buy. That one really is.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to. How shall I say? I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Nice.
So yeah, but anyway, so it reminded me of that character, and I thought, oh man, I wonder if this is the same.
Well, without
would it be cool if it's the same universe?
Without the drinking, of course.
Right.
Because that Santa is a heavy drinker, man.
Yes.
He liked his whiskey a lot. He was very fond of whiskey.
Yeah.
My friend Kip would appreciate that.
That's funny. Yeah. So a couple of things real quick. I'm going to fix my thing here. I want to show you guys a couple of other panels real quick. When they introduce new characters. Well, I got to do this one. Oops. I have to reload everybody. Sorry. Uh-oh. This is the one thing DC app does every now and then. It goes reload.
Oh yeah. It does that to me too. It's kind of
yeah.
Not to say that the DC app is anything but perfect. It's definitely not perfect, but
yeah,
it is a great way to to consume your comic books.
Yeah. So one of the cool things, the images, the artists did that I really liked is the way they did the art is immersive to a certain degree. And what I mean by that is let me share with you guys this image. So here's the huge panel, and they're telling his story. They're telling Santa's story. Zatanna is telling it like through a book and giving the images
Right.
and
Zatanna got it out of her library too.
yeah, yeah. And it was interesting because then they would go into the realm of talking about it and stuff, and then Santa's giving a story, and then here's Damian Wayne, Robin sitting there going, well, I took a picture with my phone, which is hysterical to me. We're in that, kind of a thing, but these hooves are not deer hooves or antler, kind of thing. So that's how they know who's who. So, the other thing is I'll show this. This is one of the cool things about the app, everybody, is you can skip around real quick. So if you've never seen these, but you get there's some more images that pop in, but those double panels. But then you get this one, the introduction of our bad guy, which is Krampus. And so with that one, that's how we know who the bad guy is. Sort of. They do a nice job of telling this story throughout the whole thing. So that's the first one, everybody. Mike, did you have anything you want to say about the first one?
Sorry, I was looking. We had a spammer in there.
We've got a bot. Yeah.
I was trying to get rid of it. I really liked Santa Claus. The one thing I was confused though is Santa makes a comment because they say something about Christmas Eve, it being Christmas Eve, and he's got a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. And he says something to the extent of, well, Christmas has been running without me for years now, or something to that extent. I don't remember exactly what the line was. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So how does he mean that? Does he mean it in the sense that parents have taken over his role, or does he mean that something else has taken over his role as Santa? They don't really expand on it. And I was like, I kind of like to know what he means by that. And I was a little confused.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really, really liked him. And then I loved that they introduced Krampus into this. And we got some different lore between Santa and Krampus that we've gotten in the past, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was
good guys being good and bad guys being bad. We're going to come back to that, just like we talked about before. That does play into the story, but I liked it in this story.
Well, yeah, it was almost like the whole yin and yang type thing.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah. And then you got I loved it, the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, we'll get to that, everybody. We'll explain it here in a moment. Here is the cover to issue 2, and I love this cover.
This is why I picked it for our thumbnail for this episode, actually.
Nice.
I thought this was
perfect.
Fantastic. It was the best of the 4 covers, in my opinion.
Yes.
Now, we should preface this that this series is last year's Silent Night series. There is a new one that's ongoing right now.
Yes.
I didn't do that one because, well, 1, we hadn't covered this one, and 2, I don't think all 4 issues are out of the current series. So,
real quick, I want to do a shout out. Sam.
Hey,
welcome.
Sam from the Down Under.
Great to have you. So the Silent Night is so this is number 2. And so this continues, but we introduce more characters. So we had Dick Grayson, we had Robin, Batgirl were introduced, but in this one we have more that's introduced. And so everybody, I'm going to cheat because I want to be really careful here. But here's a great picture of Krampus.
Yes.
This was a good
like
one.
The portrayal of Krampus in here too.
Yes.
His look is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And we find out some of his purpose was to scare children, to scare them to be good. and all. Sam, yeah, put that in there.
Sam said Bizarro Santa Claus. Yeah, kind of.
That would kind of fit for this because it is DC. So yeah,
I think that's a great comment. Thanks, Sam.
that's good.
Yeah, he kind of is Bizarro Santa in a way in this, because we do find out that in a way Santa and Krampus were working together, at least in this storyline.
Yeah, and so go ahead and explain what you said about good cop, bad cop.
So yeah, Krampus kind of came in as we want to scare the bad kids into being good. It was the idea behind Krampus in this storyline. And anyway, so Krampus would, for the bad kids, Krampus would come in and, well, he basically say he's going to eat them.
Mm-hmm.
Which originally, I don't think he was going to eat them. It was just to frighten them, you know.
Yes.
And everything, and that gets taken further later on.
Yeah.
As we go into the storyline.
And so it's I put it bad cop, worse cop.
Yeah, that's
thing.
That's true.
Santa Claus was angry with him. Oh, you're being bad. You know, the whole, now they never said the coal in your stocking thing.
They didn't do that. That's true.
But then,
well, why would you need coal if you're going to send Krampus after him?
I know, right? Exactly. Kind of a thing. So it's pretty interesting. So we get more of the story, and that was the whole point, was he would scare them. You know, he'd say he eat them and then come back, but really he put them somewhere else, and
right.
You know, and to scare the other kids or those kinds of things. So that was,
and that does play in later with Robin too.
Yeah, and I think what's important for the lore what happens is, everybody, is that there's a point where Krampus even tricked Santa and thought, like, where are the kids? And he says, I ate them. And he's like, no. And then he banishes him to, later Superman's involved, and he says, oh yeah, that's the Phantom Zone kind of a thing. Yes. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And so he's telling that story, and he realized that what occurred was that here's the,
well, and they expand on the Phantom Zone in the fact that the Phantom Zone, I always thought, was a Kryptonian thing, but according to this, it's used by other worlds too, and which is why Santa Claus was able to use it.
Yeah, and he was trying to find him, but he never could find him. He realized what he had done and then tried to find him, and then centuries go by, kind of a thing. And so that's where some of them, then they find out where they're at, because and then all these vampire undead bats were hiding out at a bridge and things like that. So then they find them.
When the vampire bats, when they bite, by the way, they bite with, there's like a middle tooth they have. So they only leave one puncture mark in the neck instead of like the traditional two that a vampire would leave from the fangs.
Yeah.
So, because that was one thing that was throwing them off in the beginning. They were like, well, there's only one puncture mark. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then they find out it's these creatures, these Norse creatures, and they've got this single fang in the front, and that's how they puncture them.
Yeah. So I'm going to show everybody, I'm going to go through a couple of panels here that I thought were really good. I would encourage you, if you're able to get the DC Infinite app, to get it, because it is a good way to read a whole bunch of books, kind of a thing. So first you have, here comes Green Arrow and Black Canary come into place, which I thought, oh, that's a good one. Then all of a sudden, here's all the vampire bats he's like, I think there's more here than Bruce said there were, or Batman said there were. It's like, wah, wah, kind of a thing. And then you see her use her ability, which was pretty cool. Screen. And then not only that, but guess who else comes in? There's another Green Arrow shot, which
that's
love.
A good one. Shot. Yeah, I like that shot too.
The panels in this are really good. It's a really good one. The art's really good. And
So
then
if
you
you are
remember,
listening to this on audio, I would highly recommend that you come back and watch the video on either YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble or Twitch.
mm-hmm. And then you see this one shot
Oh,
where Damien comes in and he's kicking in an arrow inside of a vampire, one of the vampire undead bats.
I gotta say, I really like Damien's costume in this too. I
It
like
is
the
good.
gray and black. It looks really nice.
Agreed. I like the difference between the, you can't really beat the original because that's nostalgia, but
Oh well, of
this is
course,
pretty
but
good.
this is Damien, and
It's
Damien's
Damien. It's different.
he's his own beast. I gotta say, the writers are starting to win me over in some of the latest Batman issues that I'm reading, because I'm reading Batman and Robin currently, and I'm
Right.
reading World's Finest. Now, World's Finest goes back early, so you got Dick Grayson as the Robin, not
Okay.
Damien. But Batman and Robin, you have the Damien Robin. I gotta say, I've really enjoyed him in this series, and I've not been the biggest Damien fan.
You have not, but the character arc is going really well, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. I concur. And then who else comes in? Superhero landing, and it's Superman. Dun,
The
dun,
Boy
dun.
Scout himself, the big blue Boy Scout.
That's right. By golly, that's right. So, so that's book 2, everybody, and then I hope we're getting you guys interested in seeing this series because it actually is really good. So, I want to be really careful what else I show from here on out.
I'm surprised they haven't put out a trade of this yet. I haven't found one if they did.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'd probably buy the trade of this one.
Yeah. Here's the here's what it looks like. Good night, Sam.
That's a fun cover. I like that cover. So you got Wonder Woman in Santa's sleigh, and you got Hawk Girl in her glory.
It's a good cover.
And it looks like they're fighting off some of the vampire demon things.
Yeah.
Oh, good night, Sam.
Thanks for joining us. So there's a couple in there. So I want to make sure that I'm careful with what all I show on the second one, because I want people to see this for themselves. I don't want to spoil it, but I did enjoy it. Let me get to, we have Wonder Woman comes in, as we talked about, the Green Lanterns. Here's the Wonder Woman panel. And this is a panel. It's a full panel where she's coming in and she's attacking. Now these we've got birdmen kind of a thing, and they're harpies. They're related to the harpies.
I love this. This is the panel where doesn't Wonder Woman tell Hawk Girl to talk to the birds, and she goes, "I don't actually speak bird."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yep. And then she uses her lasso on the queen harpy.
Okay, yeah.
And then she goes, "I roped her into it." I was like, "Boo!"
Dad joke.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So
since it's Wonder Woman, is it a mom joke?
Right. So then we also get, then Blue Beetle comes in. They bring him into the comic and stuff. There's a big fight with the harpies and all that. And then, and so we get Blue Beetle, who is important. And then there's this big elf guy that comes in, or not elf, he's something, but it's all right. So then there's this big monster, and they're trying to fight the monster, and Superman's in there. So he's involved with this big serpent. But there is, let's see, I want to hit number 14. Oops.
Sorry, my dog is attacking my feet.
No, that's all right. So I'll show this to everybody. So this was my epitome of, we have Santa Claus, the monster hunter. There he is on Prancer, and a big old snake dragon looking monster who's got a boat in it. That's how big he is. And like, what in the
Santa
world?
versus Kaiju.
Yes. And then here comes Superman with a nice panel of doing you could see the power of the hit rippling on his face, which I thought was which I thought was pretty good. And then here in a little bit, I'm going to skip to it, everybody. Chomp, chomp. There's the big monster. This is a really nice panel with Krampus. And they're like, oh,
Yes.
Krampus is here. And then so what did they do from there? So I don't want to do any. I'm trying not to do spoilers, but I guess we're doing spoilery stuff all over.
Well, yeah, we are. And I mean, the comic's a year old anyway, so
yeah. But then Superman gets possessed, and they grab Robin, and then all of a sudden they use Superman to release all these super big monsters. And so, of course, you've got Battle of the Super Friends, attacking everybody. But here's Santa Claus facing all of these creatures that he put away, kind of a thing. And so that leads into the fourth book.
Yeah, when you talked about them getting possessed, I got to be careful because I was starting to think of another story that I'm reading, which is in World's Finest, and it involves Eclipso, and Eclipso ends up possessing Superman and Batman and imprisoning the rest of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And so when you started talking about that, I was like, wait a minute. Am I thinking of Eclipso or am I thinking of Santa Claus story? What am I thinking of here? I was starting to get them confused for a second. Oh, and they bring in the Justice Society to help after the Justice League gets imprisoned. So,
well, here's the cover for book 4, so that way you guys can know what to look for. I love how I put 13 plus. There's Robin.
That's a good cover too.
It is a good cover. It is. Now, here's one of the cool things I'm going to show everybody is let me see if I can get it to Superman's face for real quick, because look at the detail. I mean, he is a deranged looking.
Yes, he is.
Superman who's been possessed by something. And then even in the story, I always thought it was kind of interesting how there was how shall I say, it almost looked like the Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas was influencing Krampus, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And Krampus had this inner conflict of, hey, I can do whatever I want to scare them. But deep inside, he was this whole person who was like, no, I don't want to kill them. I don't want to kill Robin, kind of.
Right. And that's where Robin come in. So that's what I was referring to earlier. So you have the part of the storyline where Krampus, he imprisons Robin basically. And Robin remembers in Zantana's storybook that if the child confessed to doing wrong, then Krampus would let him go, and he would have no choice, basically. So Damian Robin, starts crying for Daddy.
Yes.
This is not Damian whatsoever. Nothing scares Damian. Not a thing. I've read issues of Damian going through some of the darkest magical stuff, and nothing scares that kid. Being the grandson of, Ra's al Ghul, I mean, sure, I could see that.
Yeah.
There's not much scarier than being Ra's al Ghul's grandson.
Yeah.
So
here's that scene. So here's, no, I don't want to kill the child. Krampus scares kids, or I'm trying to teach him not to be naughty. And so here's the Oogie Boogie character that looks like. And then, there's big battles going on. Superman, there's Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle shoots Superman with his ability to create kryptonite out of the suit, and able to help him and then get the creatures out of him. You're killing me. Great panels, by the way. And they're the ghosts. Here's where they disappear from. And then we get to, oh yeah, there's more fighting going on. So here's
Yeah,
Krampus
here's the scene.
with Robin.
Here's the scene with Robin. I love
And
this.
he's like, run them through, you know, and then I must do what must be done. And then he realizes, wait, what did the children do in Zantana's book? Oh yeah, they were like, I want my here's the crying scene. There you go, buddy.
I want to go home. I miss my father.
And the expression the artist did a great job with the expression of the wide eyed,
Yeah.
that, oh, he's changed. Child is sorry. He's like, send me home. I don't want to be bad anymore. I'll promise I'll be a good boy. And then that's where, for Krampus, that was his whole point was to be that way. So,
and they hear Robin, Batman and Nightwing hear Robin, and Batman immediately knows, Robin's messing with him.
yeah.
Because that's not my son.
Yeah.
My son's not going to do that.
Yeah. So that's the main story, everybody. I don't want to spoil it. We've spoiled a lot.
That's okay. That's all right.
Then they win, and everybody has a meal together and says, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Right.
The ending kind of fizzled for me a little bit.
Yeah. The ending wasn't, it didn't stick the landing great, but overall, I think this is a really good series.
Yeah. So what score would you give it?
I would give this, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
I agree.
Oh, we didn't.
An 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 Krampuses. Let's
8 out of 10 Krampuses. Yes, I'll go with that. Yes.
We'll use Krampuses for this one. So, I mean, I like the lore that they give Santa. We didn't even talk about the fact that he's actually a woodsman. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a slightly different lore for Santa than other stories we've heard on Santa. I love the look of Santa. He just looks like badass Santa.
Yes,
like he could take people down. I love this version of him. I think he's very cool.
Yeah.
I like the Krampus version. I like the take on Krampus that he's not so much evil. He just wants the children to be good.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. And that's where I say it's kind of, his yin to the yang of Santa Claus.
The balance between the two characters, how they work together. So it is kind of good cop, bad cop, or bad cop, worse cop kind of a thing. But the goal is they want the kids to be good. And if you're not going to be good on your own, then I'm going to scare the hell out of you or the bad out of you or something. Yeah.
And that's a total different take on Santa Claus.
Right.
And they didn't even talk about the list or, any of the other, lore that we know of Santa Claus. And I thought it was cool. I really enjoyed it. And I like Santa teaming up with Batman. And this was not the first time they've teamed up. So it makes you go, oh, wow. I wonder what other adventures Batman and Santa have been on. And that's that's both pre Damien, pre Dick Grayson, so that's cool. That's very cool.
Yep, very much so. All right. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this episode where we talked about Santa Claus with Batman / Santa Claus and Silent Night. There is a new one that they're in the middle of. I think episode 4 just came out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Issue 4. It's not episode. Issue 4.
Well, you got the DC app open, right?
I do. Let me.
You should be able to look at the main page. I think it has it on the main page.
Okay.
I do plan on going back and reading the new ones now, since I read those. I had saw these last year, and it piqued my interest, but it didn't pique it enough for me to actually purchase them. Because I pick and choose at what I buy. There's specific lines I follow. I'm following the current Venom right now. I'm following the current Batman and Robin and World's Finest. And then outside of those, I kind of pick and choose of what I want. And then Ashley over at Fantasy will throw stuff into my poll and go, here, I think you're going to be interested in this. And And when I go to get my pull, I'll go, yeah, this is cool. Okay, thank you. Or no, I don't want this. Here,
Yeah.
put it back on the shelf. I'm not spending money on this.
So Silent Night issue 4 comes out probably next week on Tuesday. So the first 3 are out.
Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I didn't want to cover it for Christmas, because everything wasn't out. And last year's we could read all 4 issues, so and do that as one shot. So maybe next year we'll do Silent Night
Returns. Silent Night Returns is the way they do that. Yeah. Santa is back in town. Unholy Night, and I don't see the name for the third one.
Boys are back in town.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for joining us here on today's episode of Two Geeks and a Microphone. I hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. And a couple of things I want to touch base with you on is, first off, is make sure you check out our website at www.2geeksmike.com.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. So check out there. We've got all things. You'll see our calendar for the month of December of what's coming up, and a little bit in the beginning part of January.
I'm excited about next week's episode too.
Next
week's we're going to be talking our favorite versions of Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Excuse me.
Yeah, of A Christmas.
Sorry.
Carol.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. It'll be me, you, and Megan for that one.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to that.
And then also check us out. Contact us at twogeeksmike.com, show at twogeeksmike.com. If you want to help support us, everything goes just to help pay for the streaming and the podcast hosting. ko-fi.com/2geeks. You can support us through Ko-fi. Or another way you can help support us is if you like energy drinks, go to Glitch. And you can use the code 2GEEKS, the number 2, GEEKS, to get 10% off your order. Now, they do have other deals that they do, by the way. So, but if they don't have one, use ours to make sure you can get 10% off on your order. All right. Anything else?
Yes. If you've made it this far, please make sure and go and like and subscribe to us on our socials. Facebook, X. I don't post a lot on X, but we are there on X. And then, of course, YouTube and Rumble and Twitch. On Facebook, I try to post funny memes or any information on upcoming episodes, such as when we go live. And speaking of going live, we go live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You do the math on the rest because I don't like math. All right. Ta-da. Anything else, Stephen?
No, that's
last
good.
Words, funny anecdotes. I don't know. Warnings of upcoming apocalypses.
Maybe.
All right. So with that said, we will see you next time. Same bat channel, same bat time. Please do not Stephen skip this episode because we are much more better than the rest. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,
may the force be with you.